Right now on Denver 7 News at 7 o'clock on Local 3, January 6, 2021 will be front and center today on Primetime TV. The House committee investigating the Capitol riot is set to make their case tonight, but both parties remain divided on the findings.
These hearings will be a chance for the country to come together, to rally around the truth and unite around the rule of law.
Their focus on attacking their political opponents is so strong, they don't care about the rules.
So we're taking a closer look at the charges Coloradans face in connection with the attack.
A new tool to keep students and teachers safe is coming to one Colorado high school.
Wherever the device is activated in the school, the law enforcement will know, or responding agencies will know exactly where it was activated.
And on the same night as the House passed several gun safety bills, President Biden calls on all Americans to take action.
We got to make sure that this becomes a voting issue.
Yeah, and a rare late night TV appearance. The president appeals to Jimmy Kimmel and his audience to cast a net over gun control and get a younger generation involved. Thanks for joining us this morning. I'm Brian Sanders.
And I'm Jessica Crawford. Meteorologist Lisa Hidalgo joining us with our first look at the Denver 7 forecast.
And it's gorgeous. Look at this view here from Westminster. We do have a little mix of sun and clouds out there early on. It's going to be a warmer day though today. Yesterday hitting highs right around 80 degrees. Today you've got a pretty good pool forecast. 70s by 10 with a little bit of cloud cover. We'll see a few isolated storms this afternoon. So there may be a time or two you need to get out of the pools. We're watching and tracking a few storms, but it's going to be pretty few and far between. 88 in Denver, 90 in Greeley, low 90s for southeastern Colorado, and more 70s in the Central Mountains. So things are starting to really heat up here, and it's going to get even warmer. Quick look at those storms as they pop up here by early afternoon. And again, the risk of severe weather is going to be pretty far east, more so east of I-25. So we'll take a closer look at those storms as they stretch into Kansas and Nebraska tonight. Jason, coming up.
And we're looking down from Air Tracker 7 down on the south side of town through Littleton as we're making our way south of Bowles through Mineral, and there's Mineral down there. There's the light rail station. You can see the bridge right down that way. Down here to C470. There was a crash reported between C470 and Town Center, but I'm not seeing any delays. That's that little section of Santa Fe south of C470 right there. But the rest of it by Aspen Grove all looks just fine. That's what Aspen Grove is right there. Take a look at the overall drive, and you're starting to see a little bit of traffic still on that north side of town. Most of it is getting into downtown. 26th and Decatur, a crash there on that north side of downtown, or west side of downtown. Not seeing any big delays because of it, as it's just a little bit off of Federal. The rest of the drive looks very standard for us. We will start to see a lot more traffic out and about on these freeways. Just get ready for a lot more traffic volume here in just a little bit.
Finally today, the doors open to the public on the investigation into the attack on Capitol Hill. The House committee investigating the January 6th riot from last year will reveal its findings live and in prime time.
Lawmakers hope to show the American people how democracy came to the brink of disaster, and they say former President Donald Trump is to blame. Kieran Cava kicks off our team coverage from Capitol Hill.
It's now been more than 500 days since the attack here at the U.S. Capitol, and the goal of these 9 committee members here tonight will be to put that day back in the minds of the American people. They've enlisted the help of a former veteran television executive to help them piece together the copious amounts of video, plus live witness testimony to present their findings since their last public hearing last July.
11 months after Democrats voted to establish the House Select Committee to investigate the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol, the panel's 7 Democrats and 2 Republicans will begin to present their findings to the American people.
These hearings will be a chance for the country to come together, to rally around the truth and unite around the rule of law.
The first hearing, set for prime time, will set the table for more to come. The panel said it will present previously unseen material and a summary of what they've uncovered about what they describe as a multi-step effort among loyalists of former President Donald Trump to overturn the results of the 2020 presidential election. Thursday's hearing is expected to include live testimony from at least 2 witnesses. Filmmaker Nick Quested, who was embedded with the far-right militia group the Proud Boys while shooting a documentary on American extremism, and Capitol Police Officer Caroline Edwards, one of the first officers injured when the pro-Trump mob broke police barricades. Other than the panel's 2 Republicans, Liz Cheney and Adam Kinzinger, House Republicans have been largely uncooperative and dismissive of its work.
Their focus on attacking their political opponents is so strong, they don't care about the rules.
Close Trump allies like Congressman Jim Jordan of Ohio and House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy have rejected committee requests to testify.
And one of the big goals of this congressional committee is to propose legislative solutions to prevent another January 6th attack from happening. The prosecutions have been in the hands of the Justice Department, and yesterday the DOJ said that in the 17 months since the insurrection, they have arrested more than 840 individuals. They are still seeking about 350 in connection with violent acts on the Capitol that day. On Capitol Hill, I'm Karen Caifa.
Meanwhile, the fallout from the Capitol riot has led to the largest prosecution in the history of the U.S. Justice Department. Nearly 900 people have been charged for their involvement.
The charges range from low-level misdemeanors for those who entered the Capitol to felony seditious conspiracy charges against far-right extremists. Denver 7's Colette Bordelon joins us in the studio. And Colette, you're taking a closer look at the Coloradans who are facing charges.
At least a dozen of those cases right here in Colorado. They stretch from Trinidad to Telluride, all facing charges for their roles in the riot. For most of them, it's a slew of charges. Some are taking plea agreements, while others are pushing ahead with a trial, like Jacob Clark from Trinidad, whose charges include violent entry to the Capitol and obstruction of justice. His last court appearance was at the beginning of June. He'll have a status conference at the end of August ahead of a trial. Meanwhile, Peyton man Thomas Hamner is pleading guilty to his charges. He should be sentenced in September. He's charged with civil disorder and assaulting, resisting, or impeding officers using a dangerous weapon, among other things. You can see these screenshots from court documents. They're alleging that Hamner is the one in them fighting with police. And one of the well-known names in this group is former Olympic swimmer Cleet Keller of Colorado Springs. He pleaded guilty back in September to obstruction of Congress and agreed to fully cooperate with the investigation. He has a virtual court date coming up soon, and even with his plea agreement, faces more than 2 years in prison and anywhere from $10,000 to $95,000 in fines. One of the Coloradans, who's already been sentenced for their actions on January 6th and pleaded guilty, got home detention, time in community corrections, along with 3 years of probation and a $500 fine. But that's for charges that didn't have any evidence of violent actions on the grounds or inside of the Capitol. Live in the studio, Colette Bordelon, Denver 7.
Colette, thank you. You can watch the hearing tonight over on Denver 7 at 6 p.m. Denver 7 News at 6 will be streaming on Denver 7 Plus and on the denverchannel.com. A sweeping package of gun control and safety measures is heading to the Senate. The Protecting Our Kids Act includes bills to raise the age to purchase a semi-automatic rifle to 21. It would also make gun trafficking and selling large capacity magazines federal offenses. Plus, the act would strengthen existing regulations on bump stocks and ghost guns. The bill is unlikely to pass in the Senate, though. It passed the House largely on a party line vote, each of Colorado's Democratic members voting yes and all Colorado Republicans voting no.
That House vote came after gut-wrenching testimony from an 11-year-old survivor of the Uvalde school shooting and the mother of Lexi Rubio, a student who did not make it.
He shot my friend that was next to me, and I thought he was going to come back to the room, so I grabbed the blood and put it all over me.
We don't want you to think of Lexi as just a number. She was intelligent, compassionate, and athletic. She was quiet, shy unless she had a point to make. So today, we stand for Lexi, and as her voice, we demand action.
Another witness called by Republicans argues it isn't the guns. Lucretia Hughes lost her 19-year-old son to gun violence.
20 more laws, 1,000 more, won't make what has already illegal more wrong or stop criminals from committing these crimes.
She has called for more help addressing mental health and improving school security. Both are being addressed by a bipartisan group in the Senate. One Colorado high school is bringing in new technology to keep kids and their teachers safe. Denver 7's Veronica Acosta joins us live this morning because South Park High School in Fairplay is the first in the state to get this alert system.
It's a really unique kind of alert system. It comes in the form of a button. It is brand new to this high school. It is actually called ASR Threat. Take a look at what the button actually looks like. Like you mentioned, at South Park High School, the purpose is to bridge communication between a school and law enforcement agencies when there's some sort of emergency. If someone were to push the button, law enforcement would get a notification of some sort immediately. That notification wouldn't just tell them the time the button was pushed, it would get down to the exact room number so police know exactly where to go. Now, there won't just be one of these at South Park High. Officials we spoke with told us that for the sake of security, they didn't want to disclose just how many buttons will be at the school, but they can come in different forms. They can be on walls, they can be on lanyards, and of course a lot of different other areas as well. ASR is the company that created this technology, and while Convergent is helping install the necessary tech, it's also the company that made it possible for the school to get it for free. Listen to why one employee told me this work really does matter.
This system is important because it provides real-time information for responding agencies. So it allows them to have more information in the event of an unplanned security event. Wherever the device is activated in the school, the law enforcement will know, or responding agencies will know exactly where it was activated.
It is a lengthy installation process, so Convergent staff, they've already been working on that. The plan is to have this all set and ready to go by tomorrow. In Denver, I'm Veronica Acosta, Denver 7.
Veronica, thank you. New overnight, President Biden spoke about the gun debate in an appearance on Jimmy Kimmel.
Can't you issue an executive order? Trump passed those out like Halloween candy.
Yes, sir.
Isn't that something that could happen?
Well, I have issued executive orders within the power of the presidency to be able to deal with these, everything having to do with guns, gun ownership, whether or not you have to have a waiting, all the things are within my power. But what I don't want to do, and I'm not being facetious, I don't want to emulate Trump's abuse of the Constitution and constitutional authority.
President Biden later said he's more optimistic than ever, adding that young people are the best educated, least prejudiced, and most giving generation in American history.
A movie theater favorite is now in short supply, why you might be a little salty about your next big screen experience.
And the curtain goes up tonight for the first time for Moulin Rouge the musical here. We're talking to a Colorado native coming home for this unforgettable performance.